You know what else you could love live? That's right, your balls and your face. Because we're supported by Manscaped over here at Bad Anime. You could use our code BAD20, that's BAD20 at checkout for manscaped.com in order to get 20% off your order and free worldwide shipping. Ain't that great? You know what else is great? Singing, school, chilled. This is going to sound bad anyway, I say it, huh?
It's Bad Anime.
Are we live?
Are we love?
Are we love live?
Lovelive
Superstar. We didn't plan this.
That's right, everybody. We did not plan any of that. I am John once again.
And I am Rob, and I'm so delighted that this day has finally come.
Me too, because today we are talking about season 1 of Lovelive Superstar, but it's not just normally talking about the season 1 of a beloved or a behested show, because we are talking about season 1 in the frame of our annual Best Girl Day, which, if you've been a long-time listener of the podcast, you know that us and our friends, we do an annual thing called Best Girl Day where we pick a show, or Rob picks a show more namely, and we all watch all 12 episodes of the first season or whatever season we're focusing on. And once we're done with the 12 episodes, there is a different situation that occurs every year, which last year being a
situation
tier list
or
at
task.
the end. This year, we locked the door after the end of the 12 episodes, and we had to rank all the girls, the main girls in this show, 1 through 5. And there were a lot of debates to be had, and I am still very angry about the result.
We're going to get into the results pretty soon. Or we could start there and touch on our feelings about the show towards the end. What would you like to do first? Because we didn't plan any of this.
All right, you know what? We didn't do that because that's for nerds.
And we're cool. Way too cool for that.
We're definitely really
we watched
cool.
We're so cool. We watched all of Love Live Superstar in a day.
Yeah. And we didn't even sing along.
You fucking liar.
I'm a liar.
We sung along, we clapped along, even though people were a little disgruntled in the beginning of this, because Best Girl Day is known for being a day full of more raunchy titles, a little more harem-focused traditionally because of the abundance of girls in them. Yeah, way more boobs present.
Boobs.
But since last year we went with such an extreme title, that being Mother of the Goddess Dormitory, that was fun, I think. I wanted to go more wholesome this time and kind of see how that would make people react.
Yeah. And I think...
in short, they didn't know how to.
They really didn't, because I think at first everybody was... Weirdly enough, I found that a lot of us were a bit disappointed because we were like, I thought we were going to get a oogly boobly kind of show, which is what you usually expect.
Which is a little weird that everyone was like, we wanted titties. I'm like, you guys complained about the titties last year.
Like, I wanted to get hard near my best friends. Now I just have to sit here and watch some girls sing, and it's wow. Wait, that's a good song. Wait,
yep.
Oh
that
no,
did happen.
Oh my, I can't believe this is happening to her. Oh God, her parents are no. You can't. This is an amazing show.
That did happen right before our eyes.
It did.
So relieved and thrilled. We're at the end of this, people were more embarrassed than Mother of the Goddess Dormitory because they actually liked the show.
And liked it so much that there were shouting matches over our ranking at the very end of it.
Oh, and I remember yielding because I was just so tired and I was also sick. So I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah, you and I were among the crowd that were not proud of the result. But we were like, it's like midnight. We gotta go. We've been here for 6 hours. I've had a full Domino's pizza, and I really just need to go home.
Well, you and I got there at noon because we had some outside projects to work on. So we've been there for 12 hours that day. Yeah. Shot.
Just absolutely. I mean, and you started drinking early. I had to record vocals for our band. And for everybody at home, Rob was, of course, sitting in on the recording. And during the recording, I just see him putting back beers, one after the other. Kronbachers, because it's One Beer February, AO, at the time we're recording this. And he chose Kronbacher. So he's 4 Kronbachers deep. I look down, and I'm like, have you already drank 4 Kronbachers? And then You look at me, you say 5 Kronbachers, and then you finish your current beer in your hand. I've never been married so hard in my entire life. You just made me look like a damn Mary. And you pound that beer and put it down, and you open a 6-1 before I could even start laughing. It was truly incredible. So you were already pretty liquored up by the time we got
I was
down
pretty
there.
liquored up, mostly because I was on vacation. And I still am on vacation right now, so I was very much in that vacation mode. I made one fatal misstep, though. I was also sick. So the alcohol wasn't really hitting me. So I wasn't really getting that initial buzzki. And, my overconfidence was my undoing. And I was a Mary the next morning because 2 things here I need to point out. A lot of people on social media our age now, like, in their very late 20s, early to mid 30s, they talk about like, oh no, my hangovers now are like 48 hours, 72 hours long. And funny enough, this ties kind of my personality, because remember when it came time to watch Sword Art Online, and I had 3 days to do it, so I didn't like 2?
You really did. You really powered through that thing. It was honestly impressive.
Here's what happens. I think my body has learned from that kind of work ethic, because instead of having like a 12-hour, 24-hour hangover, I will have 3 absolutely agonizing hours, and then I'm completely fine. And I felt so bad because we were originally going to record this a couple days ago, and I woke up like 2 hours before we were set to record, and I was absolutely peachy keen, like nothing had happened, like I was all good. Yep. And then we started recording. My stomach dropped. I got up, threw up, came back down, threw up again, came back down. I'm like, Bouncy, I think we're gonna have to call this one.
I didn't even know you threw up the first time, because you came back and you were like, "Hey, all right, let's do this." And I was like, "All right, I mean, okay, like if you're okay, let's do it." And then we started talking about Love Live, and and then you left again for longer, and then you came back, and we were like, you know what? Maybe let's do this another day, because I think we really did catch you at the very beginning of that 3 hours of excruciating pain. That you were experiencing. So like once that happened, I remember you texted me like later in the day, and you were just like, "Yeah, I'm good now, by the way."
Well, it's just.
And I was like, thankfully, that's all I cared about. Like, I don't give a fuck about this stupid show. My friend is sick.
Oh, I love you, bud. But that was just, it was all on me over drinking when I'm being sick. So I completely lost context of how much I was drinking. And also I was very silly because as an adult, you have to be responsible when you drink. Oh my God, this is a PSA. But, so kids, after you pound back some brewskis with the boys, watch and argued over your favorite anime, Singing Girls.
Yes.
When you get home, try to have at least 3 bottles of water. Personally, I like to have at least 1 or 2 of those bottles with liquid IV in it.
It's good. Important. Hydrate it up. Benefit. Get it going. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Get yourself feeling good, because if you're at that point, you've been drinking all night, you can pound liquids very quickly. Have a moderate meal, something a little fatty, a little greasy. You don't want to go overboard with it, because that's going to all that oil and shit in your stomach might fuck things up further. Mm-hmm. So go with a moderate meal, some water, listen to some music or something, get your head in the right space, like, okay, feel okay a little bit, and then go to bed peacefully. I didn't do that. I went right to bed.
So you skipped all of the other things that you had to do.
Yes, because I was sick, you see. So my body just performed a complete shutdown on me. Yeah. I got 2 bottles of water. I woke up with them full next to me. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, this is going to be bad. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, it was completely my fault for several different reasons. But I guess if you can learn anything from this podcast, kiddos, it's just get these, especially if you're younger, if you're like 22, pick up these good habits now when you drink, because when you do reach your 30s, you'll have all these internal mechanisms in place, so you will never be that fucked up. Yeah. You will always be able to keep going the next day.
Yeah. I think the kids will really appreciate that PSA. I also, like, as you saw, I was that night, because I knew I was in for a long night. I was drinking so much water during the entire night, because I was like, I know I'm going to be here for a long time. I know I'm not going to be able to leave. And there's only alcohol here, so I'm going to be dead. I had And I also like something about me that's very chaotic is I just love mixing alcohol for some reason. I don't know
always
why.
have.
I just love the variety.
You said that with almost too much joy. I love the variety.
It's just 1 second I'm sipping on a red in Spain, the next I'm downing Milwaukee's best.
Well, okay, those are two great things to do.
And then after that, I'm down in Mexico taking some shots of tequila. And then, oh no, look at that. I'm up in Tennessee having a barrel of whiskey. It's a Tour de France, and France is my bowels. It's truly an exceptional time.
You also caused some chaos when you brought over Hibiki, a very high-end Japanese whiskey.
I did.
It's funny it kind of fucked up our friends a little bit because higher-end whiskeys like that, they're designed to be sipped slowly, maybe with like a couple ice cubes, and if you want, like a splash of tonic water or just a very splash of club soda, not much more, depending if you like combination or not. Our friends, even though most of them now are in their early 30s, we still have a very strong shots culture among our friend group.
We do.
I don't really know why. It's just something that's persisted.
I can noticed that too. Yeah.
I can only think of one or two friends out among us who are going to outright refuse a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I was like that for a while, but then I stopped, caring. and I grew more of a palate for hard liquor in general. So I'm like, yeah, I can take it.
Yeah, fine.
So, but I didn't really have that much that night. But I remembered I looked at the Hibiki. I'm like, this is not going to go well if I try to shoot this.
It was low. It was very because what happened was I passed out like some whiskey to everybody to start off because I was like, oh, I brought this. It's some Japanese whiskey for our best girl day of a Japanese cartoon. Why not have some Japanese whiskey? I was passing it out to everybody, and I then noticed that most of the bottle was gone, and I was like, I had my glass and I was like sipping it and whatnot, and I was doing what you got to do. Yeah. And then I looked around and everybody else had already finished theirs. I was like, did you guys think that? Oh no! No. So that got rough, but the night ended up getting a lot rougher too.
Fun thing that might have happened the next morning. Mike, our friend who was kind enough to host this thing, he was probably wondering where the hell's that bottle of whiskey? Because I took it.
You did? Nice. Very good.
I was at an acceptable level of drunk, and for some reason after you left, they put on Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and.
Oh yeah, there were murmurings of that earlier in the night, and I love that movie. I would have.
So for some fucking reason, at that point, being exhausted, drunk, and sick, I thought it'd be very funny if I put the whiskey in my coat pocket because Mike only lives like 600 feet from me. So I thought it'd be very funny if I just yelled "Run away!" while taking the whiskey with me, which is exactly what I did. I still don't know if it's funny or not. Judging by your reaction, funny. I think it's pretty funny.
I think it's pretty damn funny. Especially because you just left and didn't come back. Exceptional. Yep. Great way to leave a party. Yep. I should leave all parties like that.
Yeah, just yell, "Run away!"
with a bottle of something.
Yeah, steal something. Of course, take something that has the highest value in the room. But everyone else is so drunk at...
Quick story, and tell me if I'm a dick or am I not a dick, okay? So I went to love
once anything gets preferenced by this. Go
right. On. Okay, so I went to this friend's concert, and he did a great job. He put on an opera. It was beautiful. We had a lovely time. Afterwards, he invites me to like an after party thing where I go and like it's at somebody's house, and it's very fun. And it's a great house. I bring a full bottle, unopened, of Jameson to this party. Because I'm like, oh, they don't really have much liquor. I bring it, and it turns out they have a lot of liquor there. So I was like, oh, okay. So I thought I was supplying the whole thing. So I got beer, I got liquor, I got a little bit of everything. But whatever, it'll get drinking. Yeah. It'll get drinked. But it'll be consumed.
Drank or drunk, I'm not sure.
Something like that. And... Right, everybody's at this party and having fun.
Right,
and at the end of it, I have some Jameson. Right, I pour my glass a little bit, and I am like sipping on it, and then the party ends, and I'm the only one that has drank out of the Jameson. But I'm at this person's house, and I'm like, what do I leave this Jameson here? Because like, I mean, I brought it for them, but at the same time, everybody's going, and I'm the only one and I paid for it, so I just took it with me.
Oh, you're asking me if I think you're a dick for doing that?
Yeah, is that good? Is that bad?
I've taken beers that other people have paid for and left. So you're asking the wrong cat. Yeah, no, if you don't finish the liquor supplied to you for a party, it's up for grabs. That's a kind of a universal thing, especially if you willingly leave it behind. Especially if you know the owner of the house you're going to has no intention of drinking it. That's actually kind of why I stopped bringing hard liquor to parties a long time ago. One, because our friends are dumb. Myself included for a while. Still a little bit, but
me too.
I'm still a little stupid, but with liquor I've wised up a little. It's just also easier on a quantifiable level. Like, you know, I'm actually notorious for that because for a while my day job wasn't exactly paying the bills, so I was struggling a little bit financially. So when we go to parties, I'm like, well, I gotta bring something of a decent quantity. So I'd bring a lot of Natural Light or or Miller High Life or just like lower end beers. Particularly Natural Light because they sell in 15 packs. I'm like, bang for the buck.
Yeah, right. There we go.
And I remember I'd usually be like one of 3 people drinking them at a party of 15 people. And then I'd have some left over. And I'd be like, no one wants these, right? So I just take them. And then I'd see like a bunch of beers left behind because everyone brings too many beers to these things.
Yeah.
I'd throw a couple more in there. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, why not? You're there. They're not going to drink all that shit.
Exactly. If they leave it behind, they leave it behind. Is it a dick move? I don't know. And I don't give a fuck.
Such a Sumire move, I got to say.
Well, no, Sumire is the kind of gal who will bring a $20 bottle of whiskey and then he'll spend $40 on presenting the fact that she brought a $20 bottle of whiskey to this party. And then she'll freak out when everyone looks at her. But then she'll learn a lesson at the end of it. So then my feelings on her are a little obscured. We're talking about Love Live, and it's been almost 20 minutes, and we haven't really talked about the show much yet. But we have before.
We have. Indeed, we have. I'm glad you brought that up.
In those bonus episodes we keep saying we're going to bring back.
Yes, and that we haven't yet, but we will, I swear.
I kind of have a date in mind for when I want to bring them back, so I'll talk to you about that off camera.
Okay, great.
Off mic. Anyway, off air, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Anyway, so you and I are originally going to cover this show, but we hit a snag with it because by I watched up till episode 10.
Right.
You watched till episode 5.
Right.
And we both came to each other one day and said, hey, this is just kind of charming and very well animated.
Yeah, we were just like, what's the angle? Like we were watching it. We were like, this. It's just like, could we really talk a fuck ton about this episode? I mean, this show in general. And I think we decided not really, but it's a fun watch. So maybe we'll talk about it.
We gave it like a mild recommendation in a bonus episode. That's what I remember us doing. Yeah. But for Best Girl Day, I thought, what a great chance to revisit the show. And if things get interesting, we could talk about it. But I have surprisingly more to say about the show than I thought I did.
Yeah.
There was a tiny bit more depth there here than I thought there'd be. They really made sure to give each of the 5 kind of their character arc, or at least a great sense of character and a reason for them being who they are. You know what I mean?
Yes, they really did, and I thought that they did that very well. Like the first time I watched the show, I only probably watched the first maybe 3 to 4 episodes, maybe 5.
Right.
If I'm stretching.
5 was the number was what you told me.
Yeah, okay. So maybe 5 then. But I think we all got to the point on these 12 episodes where, watching them all together and being in and out, maybe I have a conversation here and there, but I did see some strong character development from each of the characters throughout the show, except for one, but we'll talk about that. But the 5 characters in question are Kanon, Kukutang, Chisato, Sumire, and Ren. Those are our 5 main cast. Kanon is notably the protagonist of everything. She's the redhead.
Yes.
She is the one who has fear of singing in front of people, so she sings to herself. But she's really freaking good at it. One day, Kukutang hears her singing. She's a Chinese exchange student and starts yelling Mandarin at her. And she doesn't know how to respond. But Kukutang wants to start a school idol group where they all sing because Kukutang loves school idols. And
she's going to remind you of that. She's going to remind you of that
every
ad nauseum, every episode.
Every day. every episode without question.
Yep.
Without question. And her and Kanon, Kanon eventually, regrettably agrees to join Cuckoo Tang, and they decide to become an idol group. They have a cute performance after a lot of practicing. They get Chisato as their dance teacher who teaches them choreography. She's the white-haired girl.
She's Kanon's childhood friend.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, and for context,
she helps him with choreo.
All these girls right now, for context, are going to this this high school where it's a general ed high school, but they also have a different curriculum for music students. So music is taken wildly seriously at this school.
Very seriously.
So the early plot of the show was Kanon and Cuckoo trying to start the school idol group, but being told no by Ren, who is the daughter of the founder of the school, saying, "No, you fucking assholes, you can't," or the granddaughter person, I think it's the granddaughter person who found the school, so you fucking assholes can't start an idol group, you're going to embarrass us.
Exactly, but then, because they put so much stock into their singing program, they don't want like another like ragtag group representing the school going out there and like shitting the bed at all these concerts and stuff, basically.
Exactly. But what happens is the current like headmaster, dean, whatever it is, I forgot what her title was, but head honcho says, "Well, if you guys place first place in this idol competition coming up, we'll maybe consider it." So it's just Kanon and Cuckoo, and they perform. They don't win first, but they get the newcomer award, and they're like, "That's enough. You guys are good."
Yeah. The school was like, "Wait, we didn't even expect you to place. Goddamn. All right, well, so I guess you're not a complete embarrassment. So yeah, all right, we'll let you have your little club." And so they have
at it, girls.
Club.
So they do it, and then we get more characters joining. You know, they kind of say like, "Hey, Chisato, why don't you join? Exactly, your choreography. You're doing all our choreography. You're best friends with Kanon. You have a decent enough voice." They don't exactly explain very well why she doesn't join.
Which is why Chisato is my big hang up in the show, because she doesn't really have a good reason why she doesn't want to join them.
Yeah.
And it's never revealed, but she does eventually join them. I think it's something to do with she wanted to be like a dancer and not like a singer, and she's looking to be the best in the world at dancing. Which like I guess isn't exactly like what she's not like, she doesn't want to be a school idol essentially. She just wants to dance. Yeah,
but then she wins a competition and says, "Oh, I'm good. I know. I'm done. I validated myself."
Zero character development.
None.
Fun character, but in my opinion, does not have the chops to be number one in a ranking of 5. It's really just that's what it comes down to.
And I'm going to spill the beans now. She was first in a lot of people's rankings. We'll get to why in a minute.
Yeah.
But it didn't sit well with either of us.
Did not.
So, and then later on we had Sumire, who is a bitch and I love her.
Yeah. Good way to describe it. Mm-hmm.
She's basically been a C+ player her whole life. She's had success in show business, but she was always playing like bit parts in commercials and being like, if she was doing a play in school, she'd be a tree. You know what I mean?
Or giant isopod. Giant
isopod. No, stop.
She played a giant isopod, as well as tree, as well as other roles like that. But she never got to be the main girl. She never got to be the center of it all, and that's what she wants.
Well, here's the thing. She always wanted it until she was given the opportunity, and she started choking hard. So later on in the series, they enter the competition known as Lovelive, and what happens with her is, I'm trying to sum up all the character arcs so we can get back to
so we can get back to the important stuff. Yeah, no, I get it. I've been doing the same thing. Perfect.
Good. I'm so glad we didn't discuss format for the show at all. Anyway, so her arc was like she was choking under pressure, and then was it Chisato or Cuckoo started yelling at her saying, "You can't handle it. You've spent all this time. You tried to take center from Kanon 5 episodes ago. It didn't work. You're being a pansy here. You want that validation that create, The reason why they want her to be center, by the way, is because they're challenged to do a song that incorporates rap elements.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the only one that has any ability to rap. So they want to put her center, obviously, but she chokes under the pressure until they just tell her to stop. They just tell her to suck it up. That's all they do.
Yeah, that's really what they did, and then she just sucked it up.
It's a very New Japan Gurren Lagann-esque form of motivation. Just like stop being a bitch.
Yeah, stop being a little bitch, Simone. Get in the robot, Shinji.
Ava too, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a common enough trope. And then she does, and it leads to my favorite song of the series, Nonfiction. It's a great tune.
Good. It's very good.
It's barely the verses have a hip hop element, but it's a dance song. It's nowhere. It's
not a rap. It's not a rap. Like she is not like, she's not spitting or anything.
Yeah, no. The verses, the vocal melodies of the verses are rap oriented. That's all I will say.
Yes.
But the song is an upbeat dance number with a rap verse, basically.
Yeah. Right.
And then, like I said, we have Ren, who was formerly the headmaster. Like she comes from the family that founded the school. The school is going through a lot of debt, with threatening to close. So she has a lot on her plate. She doesn't want her mother's legacy being tarnished.
Yes.
Until one day, she finds her mother's diary, and revealed that she was a school idol. And then she's hit with a pretty significant amount of guilt for denying these girls their passion when it's something her mother would have wholeheartedly endorsed.
Yeah. And
she's crying, realizing how over seriously she was taking everything. But the girls embrace her in wholeheartedly. It's like, it's okay. We'll help represent the school. We'll bring in a good name. We'll do your mother proud. So she joins them right away, and she's liberated in a lot of a way. And that arc got me. It did. As cheesy as it was.
Now that's what I call a character arc. That is what was severely lacking with Chisato, and what was absolutely in spades with Ren. She was like this horrible character that you hated for the first 5 or 6 episodes and just didn't do anything but moan and bitch and complain. And then once you realize what she was actually going through, how both of her parents had died, and how she's just left with her estate and nothing else. And she has to save the school basically that her parents built. Yeah, that's pretty deep. That's pretty good, and she's a good singer too. And she's a cool cat. I liked her.
I don't know the voice actress's name off the top of my head, the Japanese voice actress, but she did I loved her voice.
It was Nagisa Aoyama.
Nagisa? That's funny.
Yeah,
we have a lot of characters named Nagisa.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, we've been to a lot of shows with Nagisas recently. Anyway,
I know, a lot of Nagisas. Girlfriend, right? Was the Nagisa that was one there?
And Ixer 1 was another one.
Ixer 1, yeah, I think so. A lot of Nagisas.
But anyway, I just love her voice. I don't know what it is. She has this very interesting vocal quality that I really enjoy.
It was a very alto-y,
yes,
lowish, feminine voice, which I thought suited the character very well as well.
Exactly.
It was great. It was probably one of the best voice acting
power behind it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All of them were appropriate though. The rest of them sounded like young girls, except for Sumire, who was able to add that bitchy kind of I don't know, that show-offy kind of vocal affectation, which I loved.
Yeah, she was the most Valley Girl-esque, the most gal-esque.
Yes.
From all of them, I think very close to My Girlfriend is a Gal, the main characters in that show, right? Which was funny. So everybody had their own kind of thing. Everybody had their own shtick. They all have a different hair color, so you can tell them apart. Isn't that great? Anime.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, basically they wrap up the story by competing, and they lose in their last tournament, correct? Or they get second place.
I think they get. I think they qualify for the bigger tournament. Or it was some other regional tournament. It wasn't actually the Love Live that got to. So
something else.
The series kind of ended on a little bit of a whimper. It just kind of ended with a couple more good songs and confirmation that they're going to keep going. It wasn't a huge finale, but because there's a season 2.
Right.
Yeah, and they got to add more girls, so they do eventually. In season 2, from what
I know. I looked up a tier list because I was like, oh yeah, how are we going to do this ranking later? And then I saw a couple of other girls, and I was like, this is way too complicated for me. I can't.
Yep, just 1 through 5.
It's bad. Listen here, listeners. I know your balls are looking nice, but you know what could use a shape up? Your beard. And breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right. They're once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using code BAD20, that's BAD20 for 20% off and free shipping. And ain't that great? Now back to the anime.
It's bad.
Well, let's talk about the ranking. I've been alluding to it. We've been alluding to it this whole time because a lot of our friends chose Chisato as number one.
And honestly, after that, I don't even remember the ranking.
I'll tell you the ranking.
Okay.
I'll tell you what pseudo agreed upon ranking. What we did was we yelled at each other for a while, and then we did like a polling system where, like, you know,
Mike was getting frustrated. Yeah,
exactly. Everybody gives their ranking, and then each person gets an amount of points from what spot they're in on everybody's rankings. Mm-hmm. And the eventual final ranking was Chisato, followed by Ren, followed by Kanon, followed by followed by Sumire, followed by Kukutang.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all.
And neither do I. Not one bit.
So we did the good thing to leave that day. But before we leave today, I want to do two things. First off, establish the show as not bad. Because it's not.
Yeah, I agree. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. The songs are way too slappy to be baddie, if you know what I mean.
Some people might be a little adverse to giving a music anime a shot, but I would say this is a fun one. If for anyone listening, give it a couple episodes because it can surprisingly win you over.
It could. Very easy.
There's enough here. The characters are fun enough, and just the songs and the sound design completely slap.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
One of the running jokes all night was our friends going, "Why is the background music so intense?"
It was really intense at times.
And even people in the room are going, like, musicians in the room are going, like, "Wow, I love how it switches to minor when they're talking about the villain." It's like, the show is just well composed.
It's very well musically done throughout the entire show, and that's not even just the songs. That's right. That's the background music, and that's kind of everything in sound design the show is done very well. They obviously had a point with the show, like music, and it works very well. Mm-hmm.
And if you're a musician like the two of us, you're gonna fucking love it because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
if the songs are subpar, the show would have sucked. But the songs are great. So
songs were good. Yeah.
But before we're allowed to leave today, we must quickly establish the official Bad Anime ranking of the 5 characters.
Yes. So here we go. It's time to rewrite history. It's time for Love Live Superstar, the real.
I make one suggestion though. Let's start at 5, then go up.
I'm down with that. Okay. Who do you think could fit at number 5?
Either Chisato or Cuckoo.
I was thinking either Chisato or Cuckoo as well.
Okay.
The hard part about this is
so one of them is going 5, one of them is going 4.
Going 4. The fun thing about the nice thing about Chisato is that she was very inoffensive the whole time, but that was also my problem with her, that she was just like, "Oh, what are you here for?" Like
5.
It's just kind of.
She's 5.
Yeah,
she was talented. She was talented, but she wasn't an interesting character.
Yes.
A lot of people in the room were like swayed by her character, and I'm like, they were swayed by how good she was at things, her talent. And I'm like, for being the glue that held everything together. I'm like, that's a stupid fucking reason. I think you guys just like the other characters a little too much to admit it. Yeah. She was too static for my liking. Talented, not the star of the show. Mm-hmm. At number 4, I say that case, let's put Cuckoo at 4.
Yeah, I could agree with that. She got, like, at least a lot of people in our room. Like, she got number 5 in, like, the room ranking. And I feel like she deserves more than that because she was just such a funny character. She really kept the entertainment value.
She was always entertaining. She was the reason why any of this was fucking happening.
Yeah.
And she was just genuinely funny. You know what I mean?
She was very funny.
She was just funny. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed her tremendously. I really did.
Yeah.
And I love the bits when she started randomly speaking Chinese because she was too excited.
That was so funny. And they worked it in so well, too, where they just, like, had a voice actor come and actually speak Mandarin, which was incredible.
Yes, it was great.
I just thought it translated really well. And at first, like, you know, when I watched the show, I was like, oh, is this kind of racist? But it just turned out to be actually just like a very funny, like, oh, it's just like an exchange student character. Like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it was a quirk. Yeah,
she was quirky.
It was
exactly.
And number 3,
this is where it gets tough for me because I know.
What do you want to do?
I know you're a Kanon guy.
I am, but in talking about the show, she's not my number 1.
She's definitely not my number 1. She is also.
She's either 2 or 3.
I would be comfortable. So that for me, the 2 and the 3 slot is a Kanon slot.
But who's your 2?
My 2 would be Sumire. I know your number 1 is Sumire.
No. My number 1's actually Ren.
Is it? Mine too.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Oh, she. Wow, this is so civilized.
You look so relieved. Oh my God.
Oh, I thought we were gonna have a tough time here. I'm so happy. Oh, this is great.
Here's the thing with Kanon. I like her a lot, but not as much growth. She did grow, but she stopped growing after the first couple episodes and then became a little too plot armory. While Sumire kept growing throughout the entire series, and Ren is number 1 for me purely because her backstory got me the most, and she was the most dynamic.
Yes, I agree because it was such a shift that she made. I feel like Sumire had a very gradual shift. Hers was like within an episode. Like if you missed it, like you don't know what happened. Like it was very like sudden and dynamic. And she immediately knew what she had to do, being a direct person. So I appreciated that most of all, and her qualities.
Right.
The voice acting for her was also exceptional, as we talked about. So she's definitely, for sure, she's my number 1. I think Sumire is very high up there as number 2. Kanon is number 3. I had a complaint that Kanon didn't really grow that much as a character. She did have that arc near the end where she was
she did grow, but it stopped way too early.
It did. And she didn't really she didn't gain a lot of traits over time.
No.
She just kind of stayed that way, and she's like the perfect one, and that's it.
She kind of had the anime problem where she became stronger, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no.
She didn't really gain any characteristics, or we didn't learn anything new about her. Really, there wasn't really any of that. With at least Ren and Sumire, there was over time, oh, okay, I'm learning a little tidbit about this person every once in a while, and it's making me understand them more as a character and their psychology. Right.
Exactly.
That was a fantastic. What a conversation! Oh my God, we were this worked out so well.
Your entire physical being looks so relieved right now. You're like, oh my God.
All of my muscles just relaxed. I feel great. I've pooped 3 times right now.
It looks like you had a popper.
Yeah, yeah. You know me.
Anyway,
just slides right out.
That's it looks like that's our ranking. Going from 5 to 1, we got Chisato, Kuku, Kanon, Sumire, and Ren at leading the pack. I didn't expect it to be that civilized.
I could not feel better about this. I really couldn't feel better about this. I'm so happy we saw eye to eye on this. I really, really thought that you were gonna, because you love a protagonist. I thought you were really gonna be in on the protagonist.
I was originally, up until I really finished the show and thought more about it, because I thought Kanon, I was kind of hoping for a different arc from Kanon than we got. I was really hoping she would crumble hard under pressure, but then realize her journey, you know what I mean? Kind of give us a nice reaffirmation of what she overcame and what she conquered. Which I kind of assumed that's where the show was going, but it didn't, at least not yet. So it kind of blue balls me a little bit on her character.
So essentially what you're saying is not enough misery was had on Kanon's part.
Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough misery on her part, while Sumire and Ren had a decent amount of crying scenes, so therefore they're better girls.
We love depressed women. Yay.
I just love depressed people. What does that say about me? Uh-oh.
We will find out on our next episode where we have a full therapy session. No, I'm kidding. But we will be back.
That sounds fun, though.
It does sound actually like a good time. Maybe a bonus.
If that's our return to the bonus format, I'm going to be horrified.
You just press play on the bonus episode, and it just opens with you just being like, Yeah, and that's how I found out I was depressed as an 8-year-old.
It it happened when my hamster killed that dog.
And that's when I knew that college wasn't for me, but hard drugs were.
There's so many ways we can go with this, but I feel like this episode will crash and burn if we do. So let's take it out on a high note. Yes.
But let's go away. Goodbye, everybody.
It's bad.
Wow, oh my god, what a rousing podcast of anime conversation. Am I right, my compares? Am I right, my weebdom? Anywho, yeah, you can send us a message if you want. Did you like this podcast? Did you hate this podcast? Do you want to kill me? Do you want to drench me in Calaxosaur blood and watch me drink it? That's fine. Just send us an email at badanimepod@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram at badanimepod, all one word. You can also find us on YouTube as Bad Anime, and you could leave a comment on whatever video you want to leave a comment on. We'll read them all anyways. We don't care. I love you. Kiss, kiss.
Simple Equations Podcast Network.